What's up, everybody? Trinity here, and welcome back to the 2nd Street Marvel for today's comic book review. And today it's going to be a triple feature with 3 of these new Dawn of X titles that have come out this week. And we're going to start off with X-Men issue number 6 being written by Jonathan Hickman, and we do have a new artist on this book as well as all of these books this week. We've also got X-Force issue number 7. You guys know this one is one of my favorites out of these new Dawn of X titles. And the last one we will talk about is X-Force issue, or Excalibur, issue number 7. In case you don't know, that's one of my least favorites. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to try to keep this short. X-Men is being written by Jonathan Hickman. The art in this book is done by Matteo Buffagni. Sonny Go is the color artist, and VC's Clayton Cowles is the letterer. Tom Muller on design. Lionel Francis Yu and Sonny Go are the cover artists. I will go ahead and show you those names on this lovely 2-page title spread. You know how I love these things, these 2 pages. These, oh man, but you know how much I love those. And let me show you that art, that cover once again. This is a really fire cover, man. I like that cover. It's pretty nice. So, lately I've noticed over the last couple of issues, like last week's and even maybe the week before, I was really getting a lot more tie-ins to like House of X and Powers of X, a lot more callbacks and things like that. And in this issue number 6 of X-Men, we definitely get that. I think this is probably one of the best issues of X-Men that we've gotten since the Dawn of X has started out of the X-Men issues. I think this might be the best one. I don't know. There's been a couple of good ones out of the X-Men, but a couple of them were just kind of all right. This one right here is really good. I would suggest, if you're not reading X-Men, this is one of the ones you're going to want to read. If you haven't been keeping up with the X-Men series, make sure that you read this book. And because in this book we see we're getting some flashbacks. It's really, this book is just like a flashback of time, and most of the time that it's flashing back to here is from like House of X, issue number 1, issue number 2, like the House of X stuff. We're getting a lot more flashbacks of that in this book from somebody else's point of view here, which obviously, you could probably tell by the cover who it is, right? So we're getting some of that, and it's kind of funny because I was sitting there thinking about that the other day. Like, seems like Mystique has been pretty silent in everything that's been going on and in and around Krakoa. She's part of the, I believe, she's on the Quiet Council and everything, but we don't really hear from her much. And in this issue, we hear from her a whole lot. This issue talks a lot about her motivations, I guess you could say, and things that she has done, things she's been doing on some of her missions with the X-Men, like when they went to the Orcus base out by the sun. Remember, they went there and they destroyed that mother mold. This has some elements where it flashes back to that from like issue, what was that, like 3 or 4. I think it was like 3 and 4 in House of X and Powers of X. And I guess that's how it's been. Is like like the X-Men Fantastic Four issue last week kind of tied into House of X issue number 1. And this one right here is I would say more tying into issue number 3, maybe 4, whichever one, where they went to the Orcus Forge out there in space. This one talks a lot about that. Plus another character. It's funny because we were talking about this the other day on the Saturday comic show. Me, Dylan, and Chris from Chaos and Comics. We were talking about a character that shows up in this book that I've been wondering about. Like, where's she been? What's going on here? What's going on? Well, we learned a little bit more about that here. This book is really great. We're seeing Mystique, in, like I said, in some of her her past missions and some of the struggles that she's going through with being herself, and her relationship with Professor Xavier and Magneto, and just how they're all. This book is really all about them. It's really a lot about those few characters, and I don't want to give away who the other character is here in this book, but you can see. I'll show you a little bit more of this art. Like I said, we do have a new artist here. Altogether, I didn't mind this art. The art here in the book, it was pretty decent. Actually, it reminds me a lot of the art from like the House of X and Powers of X, or like maybe somewhat like the House of X, I guess, because they were a little bit distinctly different. But yeah, I mean, very good, very good issue. I did like this one. Like I said, if you haven't been keeping up with the X-Men, this is definitely one of the issues you're definitely going to read. If you haven't been keeping up with all the Dawn of X titles, make sure you go out and pick this book up. I like this book. If you've read this book, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. I thought that one was great. Okay, now moving on to my next, the next one here. We got X-Force issue number 7. You guys know this is one of my favorite titles coming out of the Dawn of X. This book is being written by Benjamin Piercy. Oscar Bazaldua is the artist. Guru EFX is the color artist, same color artist here. VC's Joe Caramagna is the letterer. Tom Muller on design. Dustin Weaver and Edgar Delgado are the cover artists. I'll show you that lovely 2-page spread of a title page right there. Gosh, you know I love these things here, and I'll show you that cover once again. I do like this cover. Now, guys, I like this book. You guys know that X-Force has been one of my favorite titles coming out of the Dawn of X titles. And I think I just said that a minute ago. That's how much I like this book. Really great book. This one right here doesn't seem, on the surface level, it doesn't seem as action-oriented as all of the other books that we've gotten out there of the X-Force. The X-Force has seemed like it's been some pretty intense action and things like that as they've been going out and handling things out there in the mutant world. Remember what happened in issue number 1 of X-Force, and then issue number 2, and then so on and so forth. X-Force has been absolutely great. This book is no different. This book mostly revolves around Domino, and just kind of some unique things, strange happenings that have been going on here. At the beginning, we start off with Sage telling Domino about these strange occurrences of these murders that have been happening. And then you see we get Sage, Domino, and Colossus are really the only mutants we're dealing with here for the most part. There's these assassinations been going on, just like these people from really long distances getting sniped out, and a lot of it just seems kind of lucky. Well, we get some a lot more deeper story here into Domino and how she's been feeling since she's been back to to Krakoa, and then since she got brought back to Krakoa. God, what was that in issue number 2? Wasn't that in issue number 2? Because in issue number 1 she got caught, and then I think they brought her back in issue number 2 of X-Force. And then they, remember how that those guys stole that skin from her body and those kinds of things, and it was pretty gross, and which was kind of cool because that's kind of what I like about it, is it's like a body horror thing. Love it. God, I love this book. And so we get a lot more story of her, and she and I'm not sure if this was something I forgot about in one of the books or something as well. But they talk about how Colossus had gotten killed in Russia, and I'm sure I'm probably forgetting something that happened in one of the books more than likely, because I'm sitting there like, did he die in Russia? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's from something a previous book or series that I just don't remember off the top of my head neither. But we see that her and Colossus, Domino and Colossus here have a pretty good conversation, just kind of about how they're feeling, just after everything that's happened and being there on Krakoa, and just struggles with things you would go after going through some of the things that they've gone through. And then we get this confrontation here towards the end of the book. Very, very great confrontation here between Domino and this person that has been out there sniping people out, murdering a bunch of people, and these people all happen to be mutant sympathizers, right? So I don't know. Very cool stuff here. Like I said, it's not really. It seems like it's not action heavy on the surface, but when you get down in here and start reading it, man, there's a lot of great stuff in this book. Again, the art. Like I said, the art is different than... we got some more of these white pages in here. Got plenty of these white pages in this book. The art in this book, I mean, it's not quite, like what Joshua Cassara's is or was on this book when he was doing it. But I still like the art in this book. There's a few spots in here where it looks a little bit a little different. Like, I don't like it as much like these ones I was showing you earlier right here. I don't like some of this art as much as Joshua Cassara's art. But the Guru EFX has been doing the colors on these for the past few issues anyway. So the coloring is actually still pretty close and still looks pretty good. But altogether, guys, X-Force, still another great book, another one of my favorite titles coming out of the Dawn of X series. Let me know what you guys think about X-Force down in the comments below. If you've got a chance to read it yet, what are your thoughts? And just let's talk about that down in the comments below. I'm sure we'll probably talk a little bit more about what's going on with X-Men more than what's going on in X-Force, because X-Force was pretty straightforward. Where X-Men, there was some stuff going on in that. The next one we're going to talk about here is Excalibur issue number 7. This book is being written by Teenie Howard. Wilton Santos is the penciler. Oren Jr. is the inker. Eric Arciniega is the color artist. VC's Corey Petit is the letterer. Tom Muller on design. Mohammed Esrar and Matthew Wilson are the cover artists. And I'll go ahead and show you those names on this lovely two-page spread of a title page. You guys know how much I love those. And I'll show you that cover there once again. And guys, I gotta tell you, they got some new artists on here, and I gotta tell you, I don't really like the art in this one any more than I did most of the rest of them. Some of the characters, they just look a little bit funny to me, in their faces, sometimes in their shapes of their faces, and just, I don't know, this art altogether doesn't really do it for me. The coloring on here is still pretty good. I believe that's Arciniega here still doing the colors and everything. Not too good, but I'll show you like some of the art here and like see some of it. I don't know. Just some of the things I didn't like here. Well, we know that they finally took over in. They finally gained control over in Otherworld. Jamie Braddock now sits on the throne in Otherworld. We see Betsy going back here to talk to him in Apocalypse. Apocalypse is talking about more stuff he needs. Apocalypse is so needy. You know what I mean? But he's talking about he needs these heads of these beasts that were locked up in captivity there in London. So he's like, hey, they should be no problem for you to get, Captain Britain, right? Hey, come on. So that's really what they're going here, and that's the Warwolves. So I'll go ahead and show you a little bit about that as well. I'm not going to give away too much here. I want to try to keep these as spoiler free as possible. So they find out that they need these things for whatever reason. I mean, I guess you'll find out for yourself. So they go to track these werewolves. Where were they? Warwolves. They go to track them down at the Warwolf at this at the London zoo or whatnot, and they're no longer there. Apparently they've all been sold to the highest bidder. It happens. It was costly for them to upkeep for them, and so they ended up having to go here to the Bloodstone Summer Lodge in order, because it's got to be a sport. This guy they come across here that has bought these. And I'm not familiar with who this guy is. Has bought these werewolves and has them there in captivity, and he wants them. He's saying the X-Men basically have to go hunt them down in order to get them and get their heads and stuff like that. He's not just going to give it to them. They can't use guns and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's kind of silly. Again, just how this all comes about. And they end up getting in, obviously coming upon these werewolves, and just some different things happen here towards the end. Some interesting things. Altogether, this book, I mean, I'm not really big on the Excalibur series anyway. This book seemed, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like all the rest of them have been. The writing, I think, it could be a little bit better, and I think that has to do with the story going on here. Could be a little bit better. Like I've said about Excalibur before, I like the story that's going on here, just not the writing in it. And this one, the story, I'm not even sure how much I like the story in this particular issue neither. It's just kind of alright. Anyway, I don't know, that's all. I'm not really big into the Excalibur one. It was alright. This one you don't have to read. Obviously this is one of the titles you absolutely don't have to be reading out of the Dawn of X titles, if you ask me. That's just if you ask me. But I don't know, if you've read Excalibur issue number 7, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And yeah, that's all I've got for this book. But let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about X-Men issue number 6? What do you think about X-Force issue number 7 and Excalibur issue number 7. I can guarantee you we're going to be talking about X-Men quite a bit because there's a lot that happened in this issue. Maybe we'll do a longer discussion about that maybe on Saturday during that show with Chris from Chaos Comics and Dylan from Dylan's Comics. So make sure that you go and check us out. Make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff so you know to be here on Saturday for that show. That's all I have for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Second Street Marvel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, click the little bell, give the thumbs up, give the thumbs down, and make sure you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day. Have a great rest of your week. Get out and support your local comic book shop. Read some awesome comic books, and let's talk about these ones down in the comments below. We'll see you all later.